Hey everybody, welcome to Wow Wednesday where we share words of wisdom. I know you guys have missed me. I haven't been on in about a week or two, maybe even 3 weeks. I'm not sure, but I said let me go on now because I need to kind of catch up. Been kind of doing a few other things and been really tied up, so our Wow Wednesdays have been compromised. I certainly apologize for that. You know, I love coming on and sharing with you guys. And I'm hoping that everyone's doing well, fantastic, fabulous. And we have an interesting topic today that I wanted to just kind of talk about a little bit here. Um, and I want you to be open-minded about this because this is something that we are currently dealing with. And it is just something that God has really just been sharing with me about, the world as we know it now and things that are happening. The topic for our Wow Wednesday today is it's the same pie no matter how you slice it. It's the same pie no matter how you slice it. Now look, women, most of us know how to cook cakes. We know how to cook pies. We are fluent in it. I'm very good with cakes and pies. I love some sweet potato pie, lemon meringue pie when I can grab a hold to that one too. But we eat those types of things. We know that in a pie it has many types of ingredients. But if you're making, let's say for instance, a sweet potato pie, we know that that sweet potato pie will have certain ingredients in it. We know that the flavoring is something that you can kind of play around with, because if you want it to taste a little more like cinnamon, then you put more cinnamon. If you want a little more nutmeg of a taste, you put a little more nutmeg. If you want a little vanilla flavoring, so you just kind of play around with it because you want a certain type of taste. But most sweet potato pies are made the same way. They have the same types of ingredients. They're going to be put in a crust, a pie crust that you generally buy in the frozen section of a store, and you will place your pie filling into that crust, and you will bake that pie. And so you think about the texture of the pie. The texture is pretty much the same. All the textures will pretty much be the same if you're making it right. So a pie is a pie. A pie is a pie. You cut around the inner part of that pie, the inside, you're going to get the same pie that you would get on the outer part of the pie. If you cut on the left side of the pie, it doesn't matter, because if you cut on the right side of the pie, you're going to get the same content. Same thing. So it is the same pie, no matter how you slice that pie. No matter how many times you cut it diagonal, crossways, it doesn't matter. Up and down, side to side, you want to cut it in circular patterns, it doesn't matter. It's the same pie. So it's not like we're clueless about that, okay? There's no mystery to that. It is in plain sight, black and white. You deal with it, it's right in your face, okay? Same kind of pie. Now, let me go into politics. We're looking at colors. We're looking at red and blue, right? We're looking at the red side. We know who's on red. We're looking at blue. We know who's on the blue side. But we're thinking that they both are different. But it's the same pie. It's the same pie. When you're in the position of power, and when you have power, money, influence, it doesn't matter how you slice that. It's going to be the same pie. It's going to be the same pie. There's going to be hidden agendas. There's going to be secret deals. There's going to be things that you don't see, the invisibles that you don't see, that you are not aware of, that happens. And they're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to show everything. They're not going to reveal themselves fully. They show you the parts they want you to see, and then you make a judgment based off what you see. But the reality of it is this: what we're seeing is not really what we see. Um, and we know, hey, look, we've been in this world for umpteen years, however many years you've been here, okay? We know that politicians lie. That's a known fact. That's factual. That's not fake. We know they lie. We know they have hidden agendas. We know that it's not always what it looks like. It's not always what it appears to be. So it's not a coincidence that one will try to portray something evil and deceptive against the other. You know, they play each other in that way. It's a game. Some of them really playing on the same team. It's just the way they play with the words and the way they play with your mind. But if you're not in a position where you can properly discern, you're going to see my children back and forth, properly discern and figure out what is happening, you will be deceived every time. You will be tricked every time. Why? Because we're playing a game. Let me tell you what kind of game we're playing. We're playing a chess game. Okay? Chess requires a little more observation. You're going to have to look into this thing a little deeper than what you see on the fake news. A little more intently. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to read between the lines of between the lines. You just can't go by what somebody tells you. You know, that's manipulation. You know, people manipulate all the time. They find ways to manipulate you. They're very deceptive in their nature. They know how to smooth things over. They know how to talk up a good game. They know how to increase their value by using certain trigger words, you know, racism, certain trigger words to just kind of get you to side with them. You got to be very, very wise when you're listening to words, because even though the Bible talks about this, the Bible says that, you know, you can speak smoothly. So you can speak words that are smooth in speech, but your heart is so far from those words. I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to think of the scripture, but your heart can be so far away from the very words you say. So that's why it don't impress me that you come with an eloquent speech. That does not impress me, because the person that's speaking probably memorized a speech. You memorize those words, and you don't mean you don't even what you're saying is not what you're saying. Basically, what you say is not what you're really saying, because it's not coming from your heart. It's coming from this place right here, but it's not coming from this place right here. So it means something when someone comes from this place here. But because there's so much deception in the world, because there's so much trickery, because there are hidden agendas, because in government there are hidden agendas. I don't know if you even really care to know about it. I don't want to even really get a whole lot into depth with that. But there are hidden agendas, you know, and you got to be in this hour. You just can't. You can't be deceived. You can't be deceived. You're going to have to be in a position where you are looking at this thing through a spiritual sense. Spiritual eyes have to be open, awakened. Okay? Your discernment needs to be sharp in this hour. Your natural eyes are tricking you, because what you're seeing right now is a smoke screen to what is really going on. You're not seeing clearly because you're seeing through your natural eye. You can't really, it's almost like an illusion. You can't really trust what you see. Then on the flip side of it, which is so crazy, the devil will put things in plain sight for you that you will miss every time. You will miss it every time because you're not really paying attention to it. The plain sight stuff is what you miss. But the things that's right in front of you, that's the deception, you miss that too. You miss that too because you're looking at, this is what they're saying, and this is what I'm standing and supporting them because this is what they're saying, but they're saying it with this. They're not meaning it with this. So then that's where the deception comes in, and that's where you see the people swaying from one direction to the next. Sometimes you have to go outside of your norm, what you think is right, and you have to begin to consult with God and ask him, what is it, God, that I need to be doing in this season, in this hour? What direction do I need to go? Because I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted with what I'm hearing. I'm conflicted with what I'm seeing. And I really don't know, because I'm not at a place where I'm spiritually discerning what's going on, the signs of the times. I don't really know what's happening. I'm not using my discernment. I'm not using wisdom. I'm not using my metacognitive skills, which we all should have. You're thinking about thinking. You're always in thought, because then words have power. But that's tricky as well, because if you don't have the words and the heart lined up together, you can be easily deceived. Okay? So then you got to step outside of what's right in front of you as the smoke screen. You got to step outside of that, because that's where the deception is. You got to know God, and you better know how to pray. Because these are those times where we need to learn how to pray. We talk about perilous times. We've been talking about it for years and years and years. This is creeping in. God showed me that the doors are slightly, they're closing up. They're closing up. The opportunities that Satan had to come before the Lord to buffet us, to go, those doors are closing. The time is drawing near. Time is drawing near. And we got to be sharp, spiritually sound. We got to know what's going on around us. We cannot get too emotional. I talked about this with one of my students today on the Zoom. We can't get so emotionally driven that we miss it. You better put your emotions to the side. You better toss them to the side. When you're talking about your life being at stake, when you're talking about your liberties and your freedoms and your safety is at stake, you put your emotion to the side. You say, look, God, I'm going to get on my face. I need to hear you speak to me. I need to know what direction we need to go right now. Because I'm conflicted with the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm conflicted with all this stuff that's happened, coronavirus. It's got me twisted up in the head. I can't think. It's and that's part of the plot too. That is the smoke screen. The virus, the Black Lives Matter, the racism. That's the smoke screen. Because behind the scenes they're doing some other stuff. You don't see that though. That's what God's been revealing to me. But it's the thing that they already feel that they can manipulate us and they can deceive us. And I'm just talking about us as a whole, human nature, everyone. And I've heard people of the white persuasion say that we're easy to manipulate, talking about black people. When you hear people say that about you, and then they talk so smoothly and they present themselves in such a way, then you know that you're dealing with something that's far more sinister than you even care to know. And for us to just be naturally making decisions and just looking at stuff like it's black and white, you missing the whole picture. You missing it. You totally missing it. So what I'm saying to you is, it's the same pie. We're talking about that. It's the same pie no matter how you slice it. What side of this pie you want? What side of it do you want? Do you want this side over here? Or do you want this side over here? It's still going to be the same pie. But if you don't see through the eyes of the Spirit, if you don't allow God to help you to maneuver and make these decisions that will affect us as a whole, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just staying connected to God right now, because I know that the decisions we make now is going to affect us in the future. So we need to make sure that we understand the gravity of what is being said right now. It's the same pie. Same pie. It tastes the same way no matter how you slice that thing. No matter how you slice it. You feel what I'm saying? So those of you who know, we're playing Battleship. We're playing dominoes, okay? We're playing checkers. We are playing spades. We're playing those types of games. They require thinking. They require strategy. What's your strategy? What's your angle? What is your reasoning behind what you do? I'm not just talking about politics, but I'm talking about people in general too. What walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It sounds like a duck. It's a duck. Okay? It's a duck. Hey, call it as you see it. It's what it is. It's what it is. But then you have to know, what are you willing to tolerate? You got to answer that question. What am I willing to put up with for the next 4 years, for the next 8 years, for the next whatever years, whatever? What am I willing to put up with? What would be the best decision to make despite the circumstances? Because it's either way it go, you're going to be in a situation. But which angle do I go? Where do I turn? What decision do I make? That's when you need to consult with your Father in heaven. But see, one thing about God, He will give it to you plain. He will give it to you plain, and you will know exactly what you need to do. But what happened is, when we think emotionally, we mess up. You can't be emotional thinkers in this hour. You got to think spiritually. You got to think soberly. You have to think with wisdom. Okay? Don't get on the bandwagon with these folk over here that's trying to push this and trying to do this and that and the other. Because you're getting tangled up in some things that when you get to the root of that thing, you realize that that's not really what's going on. The enemy will have you focusing all out on one thing that you miss the whole thing that's really trying to unravel because you didn't see it. It's so amazing how they can deter us. One example. I'm going to give you one example, and then I'm going to close this out. The coronavirus, and we've been in quarantine, correct? All right. When the George Floyd incident occurred, guess what happened? People started protesting. They started coming together and being out. And were they thinking about quarantine at the time? No. They weren't. Were they wearing their masks? No. Were they practicing social distancing? No. Were they using hand sanitizers and staying 6 feet apart? No. They weren't doing any of those things. Did you catch that? That's almost like a smoke screen. What's really going on? Do we really know what's going on? You will be puzzled to sit here and ponder over those things. And then you look at the spikes in the numbers. Does it make sense to you? Do you see it's a bigger picture going on than what you actually see it? So that's what I'm talking about right there. We need to get in position where we know without a shadow of doubt, God, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is how you want me to go. And I'm going to go according to how you lead me in this. Because I'm going to consult with you. Not in the media, because there's fake news out there. Not in other stuff. But I'm gonna seek your face so that I can find out where I need to go in this thing? What direction do I need to take in this thing? I'm not going to be deceived. And I know whoever hand whoever that you have graced for positions in leadership or in any place, I want to be in alignment with that. I don't want to be going against what it is that you desire to do. And whoever you desire to use, whether I like them or not, whether I like her or not, whether I like them or not, it's according to what you desire to happen in this hour. That's what we need to do. We need to really get in tune with God to know what's happening. We need to really get in tune to know what God is saying. Okay? It's the same pie, no matter how you slice it. No matter how you slice it. Okay? This is our Wild Wednesday, y'all. I have shaken some folk up. I know I have. Because now, I'm getting your wheels turning. Okay? Think spiritually. Think metacognitively. Thinking about thinking. Okay? Don't look at the instant gratification or the instant photo ops and all this. Look at the bigger picture. Allow God to open up your eyes and your ears so that you know exactly what's going on and know what direction to go from there. This is our Wild Wednesday, you all. Be blessed. Love you. I'll be back again for another Wild Wednesday. Bye-bye.